This one's for you, Dane.
Intro!
Hey guys, welcome to the couch. We're here to talk about movies, so let's get started. But before we do, it's story time! Wait, you're not going to do the thing where you hold a comedically large book and say the whole thing in fairy tale talk just to get across the point that this is a story. Right? No, don't worry, that'd be ridiculous. Wait, you're not going to do the comedy thing where they throw the thing that they were originally going to do behind their back in spite of the person that just told them not to do it to not do it? No. Take your stupid book. Thank you. Well, since I don't have my comedically large book, which would have been hilarious, I might as well just tell you the story. So I was having a conversation at a grad party with two of my friends that are incredibly talented, Dane and Savannah. And Savannah is going to kill it as Ebony this weekend in Les Miserables, and Babette in the production that I'm in of Beauty and the Beast. And Dane is just a god amongst men. Well, he's Noah amongst men, but that's an inside joke. And Savannah has this friend who hasn't seen any of the Disney movies besides The Lion King. And my friends, being theater friends, were outraged. So people got in this huge conversation about which movies should people just have to see, and I didn't really take part in this conversation because I would just give them this really, really long list that people don't even know existed. So I asked what her list of movies that she just had to watch from her friend who has to watch all the Disney movies is, and apparently it's just Napoleon Dynamite. I have opinions about Napoleon Dynamite. So Dane and I only half-jokingly said that we were going to manipulate that list to be a little longer. I didn't say anything specific of what I wanted them to watch because so many movies are so dear to my heart, but Dane chose Pirates of the Caribbean, which I had not watched in 10 years, so I decided I'd have to check it out again. So I did. I was watching this movie 10 years ago, and I didn't remember what everyone remembers now, Johnny Depp's incredible performance. I remembered the people that turned into skeletons. However, I watched this movie again 10 years later, and I really enjoyed it. The first thing you have to bring up on the pro side of things is Johnny Depp's performance. It's incredible, it's so original, it's almost become its own archetype even amongst his more recent works. He just keeps playing Jack Sparrow or creepy, kooky characters, but it's still fun to watch. I also like the scenery and how everything looks in the movie. I know it's based off of a ride, and I really like that because I'm tired of things based off of romance novels and teen fiction. So it gives the director a little more creativity, but I just like how gritty and cool and classic everything seems to look. I like how everything seems to be goofy and intense at the same time. It's the closest thing that we'll ever get to family-friendly pirates, and the first encounter of Will Turner and Jack Sparrow is one of my new favorite action scenes of all time, up there with The Matrix. The slapstick works, especially for me. I'm not a big fan of slapstick, especially because a lot of things that they use are just in the background. You can still see them, but when they grab them, it's oh, that was pretty cool. I think the script is pretty good, too. It's not Oscar-nominated worthy, but somehow Bridesmaids got nominated. But I think it has really a lot of clever comebacks. One of my favorite ones was, "You're the worst pirate I've ever heard of," and Jack Sparrow says, "Well, you've still heard of me." And all the pirates are really memorable. Well, most of them. This brings me into the negatives. The only pirate I had a problem with was Captain Barbarossa. I love Geoffrey Rush in The King's Speech, but in this he's just kind of a generic pirate. And in this kind of story, with all the characters that's already set up that are all incredibly memorable, just being a generic pirate won't cut it. It's the same problem I had with Ronan. My other big problem with the film is it overstays its welcome a little bit. I can imagine a movie like this being 90 minutes long. This movie was 2 hours and 20 minutes. A lot of the action sequences seemed really long and drawn out, to the point where I just didn't care anymore, a lot like Matrix Revolutions or Man of Steel. And they all have the same problem with their characters. They're invincible. At the very end, when Barbarossa and Sparrow are fighting, Barbarossa says, "So what now, Jack Sparrow? Are we two immortals locked in an epic battle until Judgment Day and the trumpet sounds?" And in that moment I realized, oh my gosh, you're wasting our time. I will say there is a little more of an intimacy when you're fighting with swords and not with guns or just with superpowers. But when you point out that this is just essentially filler, it just kind of took me out of the movie and I got really bored. My last problem with the movie is the ending. The ending and how perfectly it cleaned itself up it basically made me remember I was watching a Disney movie. But it's not really worth spoiling, so let's move on. I could complain about how there's little to no character development, but if you're going into a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, you kind of know what you're in for. It's kind of like going to a pizza place and expecting caviar. In conclusion, there are parts of this movie that I really enjoyed. Some things kind of bummed me out and took me out of the experience, but I think it's worth checking it out if you have not yet. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the sequels. I kind of don't want to watch the sequels because last time I heard the sequels weren't very good, and I insisted to watch them anyway. I saw the Matrix sequels, which are some of my least favorite films of all time. So the question to the commenters, what are your least favorite sequels, and what do you feel about this movie? Let me know in the comments. And what movies are on your must-watch list? Thank you for watching. Please subscribe below, and I'm going to come up with a list that my friends have to watch because I've met all their movie watching requirements. Okay, all the MCU movies are a must. Also, Spider-Man, actually basically any superhero movie from 85 on, well, 89 on. Oh, Her's a really good one. The Hobbit movies, another not as good as Lord of the Rings, but they're still pretty solid.